Thank you for your help, Doctor.
As you see, the victim has been stabbed many times. Several alone would have been fatal.
Yes, I agree. An attack most savage.
I will, of course, prepare a complete report on my findings.
Thank you.
I'll take photos. The watch is broken. The hands are stopped at 1:15 a.m. One would expect that to be the time when the attack occurred. This phone was deliberately smashed. Last night, Monsieur Ratchet said he takes precautions. I see now what he meant. He knew he was in danger and wanted to be ready, yet it was no use to him. I will leave it here for the police. I'm sure I will find some interesting things inside. Did it belong to Ratchet? A handkerchief. There's a letter H embroidered on it. Where can the killer have gone? Daisy. Interesting. I'm right again. That happens to me a lot. The snow is falling only lightly this morning. The murderer would have left tracks in the snow if he had jumped out the window. This door communicates with compartment 204. The latch is open on this side. Expensive clothing, recently laundered. Not exactly the reading material one would expect of a man like Ratchet. A box of sleeping pills. An unusual letter, this. A meeting place on the back of a postcard. Someone with the initials A.W. Not very surprising. Not very surprising. I wonder what could be in this photo. he will never keep. Ratchet had an appointment he will never keep. So, the murderer must have exited through Madame Hubbard's room. That was easy.
I'm sorry, Doctor, but I must question you.
Of course. I must be considered under suspicion like everyone else.
May I know your movements last night?
I share compartment 101 with Mr. Book. He would not stop talking about his beloved train. I listened to him for hours talking about his Orient Express.
My friend Book will no doubt confirm this. Did you know the victim?
Not at all. I noticed him last night at dinner, but I did not pay much attention.
Did you touch anything in here this morning?
I checked for a pulse. There was none. Rigor mortis had commenced. The body was cool to the touch. I touched nothing else.
I assume the open window complicates matters.
Indeed. Conditions are not perfect.
What can you tell me about the victim?
He died from multiple stab wounds of varying angles and depth. More than one would have been fatal. I would place the time of death roughly between midnight and 2 a.m. With more time, I hope I can be more precise.
A box of sleeping pills. Think, Poirot. That is not a good answer. No, not good. I can't imagine Ratchet taking a sleeping pill if he feared for his life. My little gray cells did not let me down. That's the right answer. My little gray cells did not let me down.
I think I've seen everything I need at the moment. I am counting on you to finish your analysis.
I'll have a more detailed report for you as soon as I can.
So, Poirot, did you find anything out?
It's a bit early for the handcuffs, my friend. Monsieur Ratchet was the target. Of that I am convinced. Here is what I have found out. Monsieur Ratchet was stabbed many times. I also found threatening letters in his safe. He had a loaded gun under his pillow, so he was on guard, ready to defend himself. However, there was an empty glass with white residue at the bottom. I suspect a barbiturate. Perhaps he was forced to take it. In any case, I am certain he was unconscious, unable to defend himself. I also found several other items at the crime scene, possibly related to the murder. They must be investigated.
By all means, Poirot. As fast as you can.
I also found liquid for an electronic cigarette, but I could not find a vape. This might belong to the murderer.
This criminal is an amateur.
Tell me, Book, how did you spend last night?
This is a joke, I hope. Don't you trust your old friend?
My friend, calm yourself. I must hear your story in order to corroborate other accounts.
Ah, naturally. Let me see. I went to my compartment after dinner. Dr. Constantine was already there. We talked about his career. He's a Cambridge man, you know. After university, he returned to his country and has done much good there. He was so interested in the Orient Express. I told him all the anecdotes I know. I'm not certain when we fell asleep, but it was very late.
I need a list of the passengers with their compartment numbers.
Pierre Michel will have it.
I must interview the rest of the passengers and the staff.
I'll be in the bar car if you need me. We are hours late. Soon I hope help will arrive.
Good morning, madam. I am Hercule Poirot.
Caroline Hubbard. What can I do for you, Mr. Poirot?
I am the bearer of unfortunate news.
It's obvious with all the commotion that something has happened.
Madame Hubbard, I am afraid your neighbor, Monsieur Ratchet, was murdered last night.
Oh my God! I knew it! I knew it!
I would like to ask you some questions, but first, may I inspect your room?
Of course, yes, you must.
Et voilà.
Madame, please tell me about last night.
The murderer was right here in my compartment. I woke up. All in the dark it was. I was just so scared I couldn't scream. I pressed the call button. I pressed and pressed. I heard footsteps running in the corridor, then a knock on my door. "Come in," I screamed. And I switched on the lights at the same time. And would you believe it? There wasn't a soul there.
You think he went back into the other compartment?
How do I know where he went? I had my eyes shut tight. The conductor came in. I told the man what had happened, and he didn't seem to believe me. I asked him to search the room, but he found nothing. I told the conductor to look at the door between the compartments, and sure enough, it wasn't bolted. Well, I soon saw to that. I told him to bolt it, then and there.
How is it you didn't bolt the door between the two compartments?
But I had. Well, as a matter of fact, I asked that Swedish lady, Olsen, Greta, if it was bolted, and she said it was.
How was it you could not see for yourself?
I was already in bed, and my toiletry bag was hanging on the hook of the door. I couldn't see the latch from where I was.
What time was it when you asked her to do this for you?
Oh, it must have been around 10:30 or 10:45 p.m. She'd come along to see if I had an aspirin. But instead of opening my door, she opened Mr. Ratchet's door by mistake. He said something quite rude, like, "Not a chance, lady, you're too old." It shocked her. She came in. I told her where to find the aspirin, and she got it out of my toiletry bag. Poor girl, she didn't have a good night.
The same could be said for Monsieur Ratchet.
It appears Mademoiselle Olsen may be the last person to see Ratchet alive.
Is this your handkerchief?
No, not at all.
Yet it is embroidered with an initial H, like your name.
I don't care. It's not mine, and I would certainly never buy something so impractical as that frilly thing.
Are you a smoker?
No, definitely not. Filthy habit.
I have not finished inspecting your room. If you don't mind...
This door connects to Monsieur Ratchet's compartment. It was latched on this side. Let's see if Mrs. Hubbard was telling the truth about the latch of the connecting door. This hook is probably where Mrs. Hubbard hung her toiletry bag. The luxury of the Orient Express is present in every detail. I can see the latch very well from here, even with the toiletry bag attached. I'll have to clear that up with Mrs. Hubbard.
Come to Poirot, my exquisitely sculpted friend.
Here is a jacket button. It bears the logo of the Orient Express.
Are you a smoker?
No, definitely.
I found a jacket button on your table. It looks like it belongs to... a passenger on the train who may have entered your room.
Miss Olsen was my only visitor. Besides the intruder, of course. But that doesn't look like a regular button, does it?
No, it has the Orient Express logo engraved on it. Mrs. Hubbard, you told me that the door connecting the two compartments was closed, correct?
Yes, it was, as I told you. I was already in bed and my toiletry bag was hanging on the hook of the door. I couldn't see the latch from where I was. That's why I asked Miss Olsen to check if it was closed.
Are you sure everything you've told me is accurate, Madame Hubbard?
Of course. I have an excellent memory.
Mrs. Hubbard, I tested putting your toiletry bag on the door hook as you told me. From your bed, you can easily see the latch on the door. The toiletry bag does not hide the latch at all.
Are you saying I'm lying? It may have been stuck somehow in a different position, or I may not have seen it in the darkness. Or I didn't think to look, you irritating man.
Details matter, madame. A man has been most savagely murdered. You will excuse me if I attempt to separate the truth from the false.
Forget my toiletry bag and focus on who entered my compartment. Probably after killing Mr. Ratchet.
Madame Hubbard is a force to be reckoned with, but I suspect I'm not done with her.
Is this your handkerchief?
No, not at all.
Yet it is...
I don't care. It's not my...
Thank you for your assistance, madame. Monsieur Michel, I must ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
I will do everything I can to help.
First of all, tell me about yourself.
Very well. My name, as you know, is Pierre Michel. I am from Calais. I've been with the company for over 15 years.
Thank you.
I'm right again. That happens to me a lot.
I would like to reconstruct with your help the events of last night. Monsieur Ratchet retired to bed. When?
Almost immediately after dinner, sir. Actually, before we left Belgrade.
Did anybody go into his compartment after that?
His valet, monsieur. Monsieur Masterman, and then his secretary, the young American gentleman, Monsieur McQueen.
And that is the last time you saw or heard of him?
No, monsieur. You forget that Monsieur Ratchet rang his bell around 12:40 a.m., soon after we had stopped. I knocked at the door, but he called out in French, "Ce n'est rien, je me suis trompé." I then left to answer another bell that had just rung.
Where were you at 1:15 a.m.?
I was sitting on my little seat at the end of the car, facing up the corridor.
Are you sure?
I left a little after 1 a.m. to speak about the snow with my colleague Jean in the bar car. I came back later. There was a call. I remember speaking to you.
Indeed, I remember. Carry on.
It was the American lady, Madame Hubbard. She thought she saw a man in her compartment. Then, around 1:50 a.m., I made the bed for Monsieur Ratchet's secretary, Monsieur McQueen. He had spent the evening talking with the English Captain Arbuthnot. At 2 a.m., I returned to my place and stayed there until dawn.
What is the last station where we stopped?
Vinkovsky.
Could someone have come on board?
Possibly. I was very busy. Owing to the weather, we were a few minutes late. We left at 12:10 a.m.
I found a button from an Orient Express staff jacket. Did you lose one by any chance?
No, monsieur. As you can see, I have all my buttons. It is not mine.
Are you a smoker?
Indeed.
Do you smoke e-cigarettes?
No. Tobacco only.
Are you a smoker?
Indeed.
Do you smoke e-cigarettes?
No.
Can you provide me with a listing of the passengers and their rooms, please?
Yes, certainly.
That was easy. While Monsieur Michel was chatting with Monsieur Fauchet in the bar car between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., the murderer could have escaped Ratchet's room without being seen. That's the right answer.
This is the most likely answer. Very well, I choose to go this way. Monsieur Edward Masterman, I believe. May I ask you some questions?
I can barely talk. I have a terrible toothache.
We have a doctor on board the train. Perhaps...
I do not need a doctor. I use essential oils. If you can find my flask of clove oil in my box, I would be grateful.
Fine, if you insist. I will help you.
By the smell, I think that the jojoba oil spilled on the other bottles, leaving their labels illegible. I must find another way to find which one is Masterman's toothache remedy. The weighing scale is soaked in jojoba oil. It's unusable. Ah, this old scale will do the job. To start, I must first arrange the vials from the lightest to the heaviest. Now that I know the order,
I think that I can easily guess which one is the clove oil. Here is Monsieur Masterman's remedy.
Thank you very much, sir. Ah, well, I can finally speak without too much pain. I'm ready to answer your questions.
You are Monsieur Ratchet's valet?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Were you told that your employer was murdered?
Yes, sir. A very shocking occurrence.
My little gray cells did not let me down.
At what hour did you last see Monsieur Ratchet?
It must have been around 9 p.m., sir. That or a little after. I went to bed around 10:30 p.m., same as the person who shares my room, Mr. Foscarelli. He almost immediately began snoring.
What did you do then?
I read, sir, and I spent a while soothing my toothache with clove oil and listening to the snoring.
Did you hear anything during the night?
Yes, my roommate's snoring.
Are you a smoker?
Yes, sir. I have a cigarette now and then to relax.
Tell me about your employer, Monsieur Ratchet.
I've been working for him for 9 months. I should not wish to speak ill of the dead, but he was not a gentleman, sir.
Did you know that he had enemies?
Yes, sir. I heard him discussing some threatening letters, sir, with Mr. McQueen.
Did he mention these letters to you?
He had been reading a letter when I came in. He asked me if I was the one who put it in his compartment. I told him that I had done no such thing, and he should report it to the police at the next station.
How did he respond?
He laughed, sir.
You're joking.
I do not joke, sir.
Forgive me, I can see you do not. Was he taking sleeping pills?
Always when traveling by train, sir. He said he couldn't sleep otherwise. Last night he asked me to give him 2. I did so, along with a glass of water. He dissolved them in the water.
Did you see him drink the water?
No, sir. I left right after I gave him the pills.
Was Monsieur Ratchet a smoker?
No. He finds smokers disgusting.
Can you tell me again why you gave sleeping pills to Monsieur Ratchet?
Yes, I gave him the pills because when he takes the train, he has trouble sleeping. The letter must have worried him. He specifically asked me to prepare the sleeping pills. I didn't see him drink the water with the pills in it.
Monsieur, I believe you are not telling me the truth.
What? How can you say that?
He read a gun under his pillow, and even asked for my help to watch over him. I find it strange that he asked you for sleeping pills when he was afraid for his life and prepared to defend himself.
I'm sure I don't know. Maybe to calm his nerves, maybe out of habit.
It makes no sense.
Wait, please. Isn't it possible that Mr. Ratchet asked me to prepare the pills, but didn't plan to drink them for some reason?
It is possible. But I am a student of character, monsieur, and the Monsieur Ratchet you describe is not the man I met.
If you'll excuse me, my toothache is getting worse again.
I'm afraid this time you must prepare your own clove oil. I believe I am addressing Monsieur Hector McQueen.
Guilty as charged.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, sorry. Just an expression. My father used to say it.
You must have had an interesting childhood. I am Hercule Poirot.
No need to be modest. You're a detective.
You are Monsieur Ratchet's secretary?
I am Mr. Ratchet's secretary. Just over a year. I mainly take care of translating certain texts for him. Mr. Ratchet only speaks English.
Prepare yourself for a shock. Your employer, Monsieur Ratchet, is dead.
So they got him after all.
What do you mean? You are assuming he was murdered?
I know he had enemies.
Can you tell me your movements last night?
I went back to my compartment. I read a little. In Belgrade, I went out onto the platform to smoke, but it was cold. I quickly went back in. I then went to Mr. Ratchet's compartment to take some dictation for him. I left around 10 o'clock. I saw Captain Arbuthnot. We ended up chatting in my compartment. Then we went out on the platform to quickly stretch our legs at Vinkovsky. He left around 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
I will need to check Monsieur McQueen's story with Captain Arbuthnot.
What can you tell me about Monsieur Ratchet?
He was American. He was an antiques dealer. I don't know much more. Mr. Ratchet never talked about himself or his life, but I think Ratchet wasn't his real name, and he left the United States to run away from something. Or someone.
Yes?
He started getting letters. Threatening letters.
Do you still have them?
I have one.
Did you know that Monsieur Ratchet had asked for my help?
Asked you? No, I didn't know.
He knew he was in danger. When did you last see him?
Last night around 10 o'clock, I should say.
Did you like your employer, Monsieur McQueen?
No, I did not. He was, I'm sure, a cruel and dangerous man.
Are you a smoker?
Yes, I smoke cigarettes. I've tried to quit, but no luck.
I found a diary in Monsieur Ratchet's safe. Did you know about it?
I kept a business appointment book, but I know he had a personal diary as well. That looks like it.
Was Monsieur Ratchet a smoker?
No, he hated the smell of smoke.
Can you give me this letter, please?
Of course, here it is.
Another golden moustache to treasure. Another delightful trophy for my collection. murderer may have impersonated Ratchet by calling Monsieur Michel to make it seem that Ratchet was still alive at 12:37 a.m. That was easy. Et voilà. According to the information I have, this is a solid choice. This appears to be a good lead.
So, my friend, have you found our killer?
Not yet, but I will tell you what I have learned.
Please.
Our assassin could have gotten on the train at Vinkovsky disguised as a conductor, entered Ratchet's room and killed him. Then he walked out through Madame Hubbard's connecting door, where he lost a button from his jacket. He had to wait for Monsieur Michel to be absent. He waited too long. The train had left the station.
He was trapped aboard.
Indeed. He had opened the window to make it look that he'd escaped that way. However, if he waited until the train stopped again due to snow, his footprints would have been found.
The murderer is still among us, on the train.
There's a problem with the second-class toilets.
What now?
All morning passengers have been complaining that the door is locked, so I went to check. I knocked, but no one answered. I didn't think I should open it without speaking to you first.
You did well, Monsieur Michel. Lead the way.
I use my master key.
But who is she? Is she alive?
She is breathing.
Then if she isn't dead, isn't she our murderer?
That, my friend, is what we must find out. The ticket reads Joanna Locke, traveling in compartment 105. Miss, can you hear me? She's breathing. Her pulse is strong. There is no sign of physical violence. This woman is sleeping very soundly. This woman is sound asleep. Given her location, I would say she has been drugged and deposited here.
Well, at least it's not another murder on my train.
The train is, of course, full.
Monsieur, the list I gave you indicates that Hildegard Schmidt shares her compartment.
I will want to talk to her later. For now, we will concentrate on this mysterious young lady. Let's return her to her more comfortable bed.
Good idea. Pierre, locate this woman's room and fetch the doctor.
Yes, sir.
I will question her when she wakes up.
Please, let me know what you learn.
Mademoiselle Locke's compartment is 105. I suggest we return her to her more comfortable bed.
Yes, hopefully she will awaken soon.
A cup of tea with white residue at the bottom. A briefcase and a wagon lit conductor's jacket. And the button is missing.
So, Poirot, any luck so far? Have you tried 1, 2, 3, 4? Have you tried 0000? We really need to find the combination. Poirot, I'm disappointed in you.
Book, silent like a mouse, please.
I'm sorry. You're right. I'll be quiet now. You need to concentrate. I will not utter another word. Not one.
Book, there will be another murder on the Orient Express in a moment. She has a gun.
Come, Poirot. Criminals are often known to carry one.
Ratchet was stabbed, not shot.
But then why take it on the train?
This badge says that Joanna Locke is an American detective with the Berkshire Police Department in Massachusetts.
An American police officer? Oh.
Her driver's license confirms her identity. She is American.
These are fake IDs. It's certain.
The stuffed animal is the same as in the photo found at the crime scene.
What a coincidence.
Mademoiselle Locke appears to have been investigating Monsieur Ratchet.
Mademoiselle Locke seems very interested in our victim.
Of course. She has studied her target.
Possibly.
Look, she's waking up.
Thanks to you, I would not be surprised if our murder victim were also waking up.
What?
Oh, my head. What's all the yelling about?
Who are you? Give me a good reason why you should not be in handcuffs.
I can give you a reason, Book. Whose handcuffs will we use? I have none. Do you?
Well,
You are Joanna Locke, mademoiselle?
Yes, Joanna Locke. I'm a detective. Berkshire, Massachusetts Police.
I have found your credentials, mademoiselle.
And I know who you are, Mr. Poirot.
Then, if the introductions are complete, perhaps the explanations may begin.
I'll try. It's simple, really. I'm on the trail of a murderer.
I had just been promoted to detective after 5 years on patrol. It was my first time on a major case. It had been a month since Daisy Armstrong was kidnapped. The Armstrongs were desperate for some sign of hope. I was there only for paperwork, to fill in some blanks. The investigation is now part of a pile of investigations, and my captain sent me here just to dot some I's and cross some T's. The crime was audacious. How could the kidnapper know which was the window of Daisy's room? No, they could use a ladder to reach it, and no, they could enter the room without being seen. The misspellings are clearly on purpose, and they didn't return the child when the ransom was paid. How could the child be taken with so many people in the house? I can't imagine the pain her parents felt when they realized Daisy was gone. How are they going to feel when they realize I have no answers for them? Only more questions. That's why I'm here. A damn computer glitch. Or somebody pushed delete instead of save. Whatever happened, we lost the nanny's deposition. So my entire contribution to the investigation is to take it again. The phone record of the night of the kidnapping. The last call was for 911. A topographical map, often more important than a road map in these mountains.
Good evening. Colonel Armstrong?
Yes. You're the detective they phoned about.
Joanna Locke.
I don't remember you.
I'm newly assigned to the case.
It's about time more detectives were involved. My wife, Sonia, she hasn't been herself. Every day is a waking nightmare for us. Tell me you've uncovered something new.
I'm here to speak to your daughter's nanny. There was a computer problem. Her earlier statement has been lost.
Oh, I see. We had hoped. Well, do as you wish. I won't be far if you need me.
Their fairy tale became a nightmare.
How are you doing? Are you holding up?
You know, in the military, you're supposed to have the stiffest of upper lips. The Desert War taught me that soon enough. But this, it's difficult. Damned difficult. Harder on my good lady, of course.
Do you know where I can find Miss Moreau?
Her room is upstairs across the hall from Daisy's. She seldom leaves it.
I won't be long.
Take whatever time you need.
Shiny facial hair. The good news is that it's gold. Sympathy and support for the Armstrong family during this difficult time. Thoughtful, but never enough. What a dear child. A toy castle. When I was a kid, I had a police station and a tiny squad car with a siren that really worked. A gold mustache. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Armstrong, my name is Joanna Locke. I'm a detective investigating the kidnapping of your daughter. May I talk to you? When is your baby due? Mrs. Armstrong? Sonia?
I don't want to talk. I just want to see my daughter again. That's all that matters.
The poor woman. I can't imagine how she feels. Nothing shocks me here. That's it. No rookie mistake there. The world through the eyes of a child seems so sweet.
Mrs. Armstrong? Let me show you this.
Daisy, my little Daisy. I miss her so much. How good it is to see her face.
I can't imagine the pain you're feeling right now.
She loved her little stuffed animal, Fluffy. She took him everywhere with her. The kidnappers took it as well. They didn't have to. That means they wouldn't hurt her, doesn't it?
Every lead will be followed up. You have my word on that.
Thank you. I shouldn't lose hope. Somehow.
I know it isn't my case, but I just made a promise, and I mean to keep it.
Do you know where I can find Miss Moreau?
She's in her room. Last door on the left.
May I come back? If I have more questions?
Of course. Anything I can do.
Hello, are you Suzanne Moreau, Daisy's nanny?
Yes?
I'm Joanna Locke, a detective working on Daisy's case.
Is there any news?
I'm afraid not.
How can I help you?
I'm really sorry. I'm afraid I have to take your statement again concerning the evening of Daisy's disappearance. There was a computer problem. Your statement was accidentally deleted.
Of course. I want to help any way I can.
Tell me about that night in your own words.
The Armstrongs had a party to raise money for a museum, I think. Mrs. Armstrong is on her board. I was in charge of Daisy. I stayed with the little one all evening, playing with her and reading books to her. She couldn't sleep with all the noise and the comings and goings.
When did you notice Daisy was missing?
I was only gone 5 minutes to phone my mother. She's in the hospital. When I returned, Daisy wasn't in her bed. I thought she might have gone to look at the party, but then I saw the ransom note on her pillow. I screamed and screamed. I couldn't stop.
Did you notice anything unusual before that?
I was with Daisy all evening. Finally, she fell asleep. I didn't see anyone else or notice anything in particular.
Do you have any idea who did this?
No! I can't see who could have done such a horrible thing. The Armstrongs are such good people. Like my own family.
Thank you for giving me your statement again. I'll get back to you if I have any questions.
I won't be far.
Okay, I have Suzanne's statement, but her answers need some checking. Lyon, in France. What a a toy train. Now here I am on a real one. Lyon, in France. A toy train. Now here I am on a real one. This information does not correspond to what Suzanne told me. Suzanne said she left Daisy alone for 5 minutes, but Mrs. Armstrong says she stayed with Daisy for a while and Suzanne did not return. That is a great detective job. Tell me about the night Daisy was taken, especially anything about your daughter and Suzanne Moreau.
Apart from seeing to our guests, I took a moment to check on Suzanne and Daisy in Daisy's room. Suzanne wasn't there, but Daisy was asleep. I sat with her for 10 minutes or so. Suzanne didn't return while I was there, but there's no reason for her to sit there all night when Daisy is asleep. I went back downstairs.
Tell me about the night Daisy was taken, especially anything about your daughter and Suzanne Moreau.
Apart from seeing to our guests, I took a moment to check on Suzanne and Daisy in Daisy's room. Suzanne wasn't there, but Daisy was asleep. I sat with her for 10 minutes or so. Suzanne didn't return while I was there, but there's no reason for her to sit there all night when Daisy is asleep. I went back downstairs.
Okay, the stories Sonia and Suzanne tell don't match. I should recheck my file and track Suzanne's movements. Do you know where I can find Miss Moreau?
She's in her room. Last door on the left.
Okay, this... Nothing shocks me here. Everything looks okay here. Nothing shocks me here. That is not exactly what Suzanne told me earlier. Suzanne was on the phone more than 5 minutes. That's it. No rookie mistake there.
If I understand you correctly, you left Daisy when she was not asleep?
The party was very loud. Daisy was too wound up to sleep. I read her a Motley Mule detective story to try and put her to sleep. Daisy finally fell asleep. Right before Motley Mule solved his case in the book I was reading her. I had to make a quick phone call. No more than 5 minutes. But when I came back, Daisy was gone.
I don't see anything that proves she's lying. It says detective on your badge. Prove she's lying.
Are you sure you were only gone for 5 minutes?
5, 6, what does it matter? It was very quick.
What you're telling me doesn't really agree with what Mrs. Armstrong says.
Mrs. Armstrong must have looked in right after I'd left.
That's how it could have happened. But the timing of the kidnapping had to be so precise. How could it be? I need to find something more concrete.
Nobody can confirm your movements. We only have your word.
I'm not lying. I would never do anything to hurt Daisy. Taking care of her is not just a job. I love her like my own daughter.
She may be telling the truth. She really seems to care for the kid. There's something more. Something she's not telling me.
You say you were only away 5 or 6 minutes, but Mrs. Armstrong says she was alone there more like 10 minutes. And the phone record shows that you stayed on the call for more than 30 minutes, way longer than you said.
My mother is extremely ill. It's difficult for me. I may have lost track of time. When I came back, Daisy had disappeared. It must have been a coincidence.
You have to be precise, Suzanne. A little girl's life is at stake.
Why are you doing this? I didn't do anything wrong. I would never hurt Daisy.
I need to check Suzanne's story. Hey, I'm a pretty good detective after all.
The number you have called is not in service at this time. Please hang up and dial again, or contact your service provider.
The number... number Suzanne called is not in service? A hospital? No, Joanna. That doesn't track. That's it. No rookie mistake there. The kidnapper places a ladder under the window to Daisy's room. Then he joins the party, just one guest in the crowd. He somehow knows when Suzanne leaves the room, then sneaks upstairs. He opens Daisy's window, carries her down the ladder, and vanishes.
I spoke with Suzanne. She was phoning her mother. That's why you didn't see her when you went to check on Daisy.
Yes, her mother. I tried to call the poor woman earlier that week, but the hospital said she's been in a medically induced coma for more than 2 months.
Suzanne told me
Did you see Miss Moreau during the party?
I remember seeing her at some point, but otherwise, no. I was too busy with my guests. Wear the smile, shake the proffered hand.
Ms. Moreau told me she called her mother.
Well, why not? I believe they are very close, and the poor woman is not well. She needs some experimental treatment that isn't available yet in France.
I won't be long.
Take whatever time you need.
The number you called that night is no longer in service.
I don't understand. That's the number the hospital gave me to call my mother's room.
You told me you were on the phone with your mother when Daisy was abducted.
As we said earlier, I didn't pay attention and was on the phone longer than I said. But since my mother is very ill, she had to leave her hometown, Lyon, because the treatment is not approved yet in France. She is in an hospital in Boston for a special treatment. I call her every night to check on her. When I came back, Daisy was gone. I'll never forgive myself.
Are you sure you called your mother?
Yes. Every night since she was admitted in December.
Suzanne, I checked. The number you say is a hospital appears to be disconnected. That's pretty strange, don't you think?
It's always worked in the past.
The area code for Boston is 617. This was 413. That's our local area code.
She's obviously lying, but why? She seems to really care about Daisy.
Your mother had to leave a country renowned for its social security, where healthcare is affordable, and go to Boston for expensive, specialized treatment. I imagine that the cost of her care must be high. Did you think that your share of the ransom would pay for your mother's care?
How can you think that I would allow Daisy to be kidnapped for money? She's like my daughter. I could never imagine such a thing.
Her reaction seemed sincere, but I needed to see how she'd react.
Suzanne, I think you really care for Daisy. If you do, then tell me the truth. You can't have been calling your mother while she's in a coma.
My mom really is in a hospital in Boston. She really is in a coma. I wasn't calling her. I was on the phone with my boyfriend, Noah.
Why lie about it? Why are you panicking?
Because he's gone. I haven't heard from him since the night of the kidnapping. I'm afraid he's somehow connected to Daisy's disappearance. That he was just using me somehow. But I swear I talked to him. Yes, for more like 30 minutes that night. So he couldn't have kidnapped Daisy at the same time we were talking.
But he could have kept you talking so someone else could take Daisy.
Yes, you can see why I lied. Can't you? I was afraid you'd suspect me of having something to do with it. You can understand that, can't you?
Suzanne, I want to believe you, but you've made it harder to find Daisy. Do you realize that?
Oh my God. What have I done?
What's most important is not what you've done, but what you do now. Go. I'll be back to talk to you. No more lies, Suzanne. For Daisy, no more lies.
Noah. The name might lead us to that little girl. I am on this case now. Whether my captain wants... A card from the florist. It's signed N. Huh. What's in the glass case? Oh, big surprise. Glasses. I expect Suzanne must have gone through a lot of tissues these past weeks. An Eiffel Tower keychain, but no key. An Eiffel Tower keychain, but no key. Small jewelry box. By the size, I'm guessing earrings. Why put a key in a jewelry box? That doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Okay, Suzanne, let's see what you haven't told me. I can see why Suzanne didn't tell me everything about this, Noah. It's clear when he disappeared that she realized something was very wrong. I can see why Suzanne didn't tell me everything about this, Noah. It's clear when he disappeared that she realized something was very wrong. I can see why Suzanne didn't tell me everything about this, Noah. It's clear when he disappeared that she realized something was very wrong. I imagine these flowers must have been beautiful. Who gave them to you?
The gardener. They're getting pretty wilted, but I hate to throw them away.
Tell me about your boyfriend. Have you been together long?
My boyfriend? Why? He doesn't have anything to do with this.
Please, Suzanne, the sooner you answer my question, the sooner we'll be done.
His name is Noah Garrity. I met him at a Lunar New Year party in Great Barrington. He is a kind and caring person, although, well, I miss him. He had to go away on business. He should be back.
Know anything about Miss Moreau's boyfriend?
Her boyfriend? I know she went out with someone for a while there. More recently, I saw a man in a 4x4 who would pick her up on her nights off. He never got out of his car, just waited for her. She did seem to spend more time than usual on the phone these past few weeks, but she worked hard. We weren't going to begrudge her what free time she had. Since the abduction, she keeps pretty much to herself.
I won't be long.
Take whatever time you need.
Nothing shocks me here. Nothing shocks me here. These tire tracks could well be from Suzanne's boyfriend's 4x4. Score! 1 for the good guys. Tread marks of a 4-wheel drive vehicle were found outside the garden on the night of the kidnapping. Noah drives one, doesn't he? Where is he, Suzanne? If you know anything more about him, you have to tell me.
I know what you're thinking, but it's impossible. He was very nice to me. He never did anything to make me suspicious. We went out to eat, to the movies. Just like a normal couple. He's not the only man in the Berkshires who drives that kind of car.
Where is a lie detector when you need one? You really didn't notice anything strange about Noah until he vanished?
He could get moody at times, as if he had a lot on his mind.
In your diary, you say that Noah took you to a cabin in the mountains on Valentine's Day.
You read my diary?
I'm sorry, but we have to find Daisy. We both want that. So yes, I looked in your diary.
You're right. He took me to a cabin in the woods. I waited for him in the car. He came out after a few minutes. He was very sweet and apologetic, but he never explained. We went back to the restaurant for dessert.
Did you ever go back to the cabin with him?
No. Never.
So what made Noah drive all the way to a cabin in the middle of nowhere? He left her in the car. Why was he there? This is important. I know it is. I can use Suzanne's directions to the cabin and compare them to the map of the area I have in my car. Thanks to the information Suzanne gave me, I should be able to find the cabin on this map. I got it. The cabin has to be here. I have to find that cabin. I hope I'm not too late. Okay, here is this famous cabin. Let's investigate. Hello? Is anyone there? Nobody. I can't just waltz in without a warrant. I've earned a gold mustache. That barrel is sturdy enough. I could climb on it. Empty wine bottles. Somebody has been here lately. Ugh, an old hunting trophy starting to molt. It's Daisy's plush toy. If Fluffy is here, the kidnapper has been here. I have to get inside this cabin. A maul for splitting wood. Perfect for attacking doors. Some boxes. I wonder what they were used for. The floor is scratched and worn in this area. The sofa must have been moved a lot. A lot of tools. I guess somebody noticed the cabin was about to fall down. That's a woman's hairbrush. Did Suzanne actually come in here after all? This bottle comes from the Blue Lagoon. It's Fluffy, no doubt about it. Help yourself, Joanna. You earned it. Damn, it's booby-trapped. If I move, it could go off, and that countdown tells me it wants to go off anyway. Since I'm telling this story to you, Mr. Poirot, you should be able to deduce I didn't blow myself up. Let's see if I can remember how I defused the bomb. That should do it. Wow, I wonder if that's how close it was. This would have ended my investigation right here. These rods are heading towards the canisters. It must be the trigger for the explosion. I smell a strong, sweet smell. Damn. I think these are filled to the brim with diethyl ether. Incredibly flammable. It looks like the kidnappers wanted to utterly destroy this place and whoever opened this hatch. A wooden crate? I have to open it. Oh no. Daisy. No. I called in my discovery of the body. Then there was nothing I could do except protect the site for forensics. The forensics team arrived an hour later, cordoned off the cabin with crime scene tape, and went to work, looking for physical evidence, fingerprints, testing for fluids, DNA, any clues science can uncover. They removed Daisy's body. The autopsy would take place in the morning. But I had one more stop to make. That night, I swore to find the monster who killed that child. Ratchet on train saw me? How? Daisy.
She was awake?
And then she collapsed again.
I take the responsibility. She was weaker than I realized.
Oh.
Lie still while I examine you. pupils dilated?
I'm all right.
You are far from all right. You have been heavily sedated. Your pulse is very weak.
I have to finish my story. Ratchet can't escape again. Can't escape.
Have no fear of that, mademoiselle. Ratchet will not escape.
We must hear her story.
This woman needs rest. I will let you know when she is recovered enough to continue. But I warn you, it will be some time.
I understand, Doctor. Thank you.
I have completed my preliminary examination of the deceased. I think that it will interest you.
Indeed it will, and I have other witnesses to interrogate. You are right. Let's not put this poor woman in danger. There will be plenty of time for her to finish her story when she has recovered. By all means, tell me the results of your examination.
I'm right again. That happens to me a lot.
This was advanced, but not complete. I estimate the death occurred between midnight and 2 in the morning.
That tallies with the witness statements I've collected so far. What is the cause of death?
Multiple stab wounds to the upper torso. It's odd there are no signs of a struggle. That might indicate one of the first wounds was enough to kill him.
It seems that Monsieur Ratchet had taken sleeping pills during the night.
Ah, that would explain the lack of defensive wounds.
Mr. McQueen and Mr. Masterman told me that Monsieur Ratchet didn't smoke. Can you confirm this?
I can't say without a more extensive post-mortem.
What can you tell me about the stab wounds?
I counted 12 in all. 1 or 2 are so slight as to be practically scratches. On the other hand, at least 3 would be capable of causing death. The angle of the wounds is instructive. Most appear to have been struck by a right-handed person. But you see, this one, under the right armpit, it's not a deadly blow, given the depth, but a right-hander couldn't have done it. It was most certainly struck with the left hand.
So, our murderer is left-handed. No, it is more difficult than that, is it not?
As you say, Mr. Poirot, some of these other blows are just as obviously right-handed.
Do we have a first and second murderer, as the great Shakespeare would put it? The first murderer stabs his victim and exits left, turning off the light. Then a second murderer comes in the dark, does not see his or her work has been done, and stabs a dead body.
Magnificent.
You think so? I'm glad. It sounds to me a little like nonsense. Thank you, Doctor. Excellent work under difficult circumstances. Please let me know when I may speak again with Mademoiselle Locke.
Of course.
Yes, that's certainly a good place to start. Book doesn't smoke. Even if he did, I doubt he would remember. I don't remember any conversations. Yes, I have personally seen some passengers smoking. I just have to remember who they were. have no official authority. Yes, I suppose it's likely they will give me the list of who smokes what. My little grey cells did not let me down. Et voilà. Most of the passengers pass by the bar during the day. They eat, drink, write. Maybe I can use this information for my investigation. Brilliant. Yes, it could work. He appears to be an observant young man and serves the passengers regularly. Yes. Yes, if I ask them to write something trivial, they may do it instinctively with their dominant hand. Well done. Yes, I will remember which people use their right or left hand. That's the right answer.